everyone, today I'm going to be making a tutorial using the massive deluxe Dottie hair bow template, and this makes a huge 24cm bow. And to go along with this bow template, Pixie.craft Supplies has also now released a giant bunny ear template. So today I'm going to be using this to make an Easter decoration. So to make my Easter bow decoration, I have got a range of fabrics here. These are all from Pixie.craft Supplies. I've got a white chunky glitter, a couple of baby pink glitters. I've got these grey ones here. Now these ones I actually got last year from Pixie.craft Supplies. I'm not sure if she still stocks these, but I'm sure if you ask her, because these are printed on canvas, she probably could print these out if you wanted these. But I just loved the grey background because obviously with this being an Easter decoration, most homes, including mine, I have a lot of grey, and I thought this will look gorgeous and just go with my decor. And it's got all those Easter pastel colours in there as well. So I absolutely love this fabric. I've also got a couple of bits of my own to add in. So I've got some sticky back felt, and this is just to back my canvas fabric because I like to just make it a little bit more thicker and sturdier so it holds a nice shape. You don't have to do that, that's optional. That is just something that I like to do to make my bows stand up nicely. So this is how the deluxe Dottie hair bow template come. You get your half loop, half tail and the strip to wrap around the centre, and then obviously you'll draw around this twice and then join it together to make the whole bow. And as you can see, just by looking at that on my hand, you can see how big this hair bow template actually is. It's hard to see on photos and videos really, but it really is a huge bow. So taking the loop, I'm going to draw around this twice on this patterned fabric and also twice onto my sticky back felt to back it. Now if you've got a pattern where you'd like to pick out a particular part, you can see through the templates, you can pick out the pattern from the front, but because this is just a pattern that's scattered all over, I can just draw on the back of this fabric. So I'm going to go ahead now and draw around this template. So that's now those drawn around on the patterned fabric and the felt. Next I've got my baby pink, which I'm going to draw around 2 loops and 2 inner ears, and the white I'm going to do 2 of the outer ears and 2 of the tails. So I've got all of my shapes now drawn on the back of all of my fabrics, and I also drew around the centre strip. And I'm just going to show you how I cut these out. I won't show you the whole of the cutting out process, I don't want to bore you. But because I hand cut, I obviously just use a normal biro pen, and to avoid the pen marks on the inside of the bow, I cut slightly inside of the pen line. So I'll just show you a little bit of that. So I'm carefully cutting out around my shape, and as you can see there is no pen line on the bow because it's on the scrap piece which I'm cutting away. So I'm going to continue now cutting out all of the elements for my giant bunny bow, and then I'll come back. As you can see, I've cut out all of the bow elements, and I've also got out these little bunny beads. I'm not sure where I got these. I think they were in my little girl's jewellery making set, but I was just going through some supplies and got some extra little bits out for this bow. And I've also cut out some cute little egg shapes, and I've stuck these all together. Now what I did to get the egg shape is I printed off an egg shape from online, and this is around 2 inches tall or 5 centimeters by around 1.5 inches wide, and I've just used that on these 3 shapes. I've started to stick a little design on here, so it's going to be like a little Easter egg gift type thing, and I've got an extra strip here. I'm going to make a little mini bow, so I'll show you how to do that first. So taking this little strip of fine pink glitter, I've used a fine glitter because it's easier to work with. You could do ribbon if you wanted to. I'm going to make a teeny tiny little bow. So I've got my hot glue gun here ready. And what I'm going to do is fold it in half to find the centre. So I don't know if you can see on here where the crease is, but there's a crease just here where the centre is. I'm going to bring this side round to make a loop and a little tail. I'm going to do the same with the other side. So I'm going to bring it over and kind of twist it so I've got a loop and a tail. And I'm just going to make sure that the tails are the same length and the loops are the same width. And once I'm happy with that, I'm just holding it together as best as I can, and I'm going to pop some glue along where that crease is that I made. And then glue that down. It is fiddly because it is so tiny. And then do the same with this front loop. Make sure that that is stuck down, this front tail. So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue there also. So I've got like this little mini hair bow, and then I'm going to cut off another teeny tiny little strip. So I'm just doing this by eye, so around 3mm wide by around 2 centimeters in length, and I'm just going to stick this around the middle of this little bow. So starting on the underside and then bringing it round. Oh, that is just long enough, look. So 2 centimeters was long enough for that. And then finish it down on the underside. So we have now got this gorgeous, cute, mini little bow, and I'm going to stick this on the Easter egg where the two strips meet, so it's like a little Easter egg gift. So just on there. So this is what we've got now. So I've got this little Easter gift, this Easter chick. To make this, I did the same. I cut out the egg shape in a yellow glitter, and then I just added some googly eyes, the little wings and the beak and the little tuft of hair. And on this one, I'm going to just simply add a couple of little flowers to it. I'm just going to take this little pink and this little white pearl and add to the centre of these flowers. To do that, I'm going to use some gemstone glue. And then I'm going to add these to this egg, and this time, because I've got the bow on this one on the left, I'm going to add the flowers to the right on this one. So I'm just going to place some glue on that corner. And then place them in the glue like that. I was just figuring out how to place them. So I'll have them there like that. So that's our 3 little glitter embellishments made. And in the top of these 2, you can't see, but I've already added little slits, and this is to attach our ribbon to. I'll show you on this one how I added the slit. So I fold it in half, and then around 1/2 centimetre from the top, I cut a slit in the fabric. So I've got a little slit there that goes all the way through, and that is to add my ribbon. Now I'm going to set these all aside because I want to assemble my giant bow first, and then we can judge how long we want to have these little dangly bits hanging. So bringing these loops in first, and the felt fabric, which has got the sticky back, I'm going to line these first with the felt. So to do that, this has got a little bit of a crease in it where it's been rolled up in my drawer, unfortunately, but hopefully that won't show. So you peel off this yellow backing, and that will reveal a sticky back. So I'm going to take my loop and line it up And then as I push it down, I like to curl the loop round, because obviously when you make the bow, this is going to be curved, and if I stick it on flat and then curve it, sometimes it can come away around these middle parts. So I like to curve it as I push the felt down. And as you can see, that just adds some extra thickness to this canvas. So I'm just going to set that down for now, and I'm going to repeat the same with the other half. So now we've got our 2 loops backed with felt. I'm just going to set them aside. Taking the other 2 loops now, which are the pink glitter loops, we're going to join these 2 halves together. So taking a piece of scrap fabric, I'm just going to cut a strip. It doesn't have to be too big, just enough to join the 2 halves together. And then taking the 2 halves, I'm going to add the glue to this strip. And then join the 2 halves. And this part is going to be the bottom loops, so we can now form these loops. I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm just going to move these out of the way. And I'm going to place some glue on both the end tabs. This bow is so big I can only just get it on my screen. So I'm placing the glue on the end tabs, and then I'm going to bring those into the middle to form my bow, as you would a normal glitter style hair bow. So that is the bottom loops now made. Next, taking the 2 flowery loops which we just backed, we're going to make the loop with these without joining them together. So I'm going to place some hot glue in the middle and just simply fold them in half. But I like to take it back 1 millimetre or 2, just so when you flip it over you don't have any of the fabric showing on the other side. I have actually got a little bit of felt overhang here, so I am going to trim that off. So that's one loop. We're going to do the same with the other one. So pop some glue on the tab and then fold it in half. So we've got the 2 loops, and this time we're going to put these on here at an angle. You can see where the middle is with this join here, so I like to line this top bit up with a middle, and then we're going to make like a triangle. So I'm going to place some glue in the middle, and I'm going to stagger this now diagonally. So I'm popping it on there, diagonal. So I've got around sort of 1 inch overhang here, if you can see that. If I just tilt it up a little bit, I've got about 1 inch, just over maybe 1 inch gap here. So you can see the bow showing, the underside showing at the top and the side. And then we're going to match up the other half now. So place the glue on the underside, on the middle tab, and then pop this on there, mirroring the other side, so making sure it's even. So you should end up with this little triangle showing in the middle, and again you want to make sure that the distance here is the same on both sides, so you don't want one angled up more than the other. So if I just angle that up so you can see it, because the camera's at a slight angle, so that's the angle we're aiming for. So that's the bow loops now made. Next we need the tails and the ears. So I'm just again going to set this aside. So taking our 2 outer ears and our 2 pink inner ears, we're going to layer these up. So these lay just on here as simple as that. So lining up the bottom in line of where the ears start coming out. You can do them higher or lower if you really wanted, but that's just how I'm doing it personally. So using hot glue, popping the inner ear on there. You could also use pink felt for this part to give it a sort of fluffy, soft look. But because these are obviously big ears, I wanted lots of glitter to make it look pretty. So we're doing the same now with the other ear, so popping some hot glue on there. Now if I just show you these, when I stand them up now, they stand up nicely. I know it's hard to see from this angle, but when I just cut the ear out alone and stood them up, they were floppy. So if I hold on this bottom bit, as you can see, they flop because it's a big ear. But with this bit on, it does help to keep them up steady. So there's no need to back these ears because I'm using this good quality glitter fabric from pixie.craft supplies. So there's no need to back it to make it stiffer. If you do find that your ears flop when you stand them up, you can back them obviously with some felt, or you could even double layer them with glitter and pop some glitter on the back. But to save using too much glitter, I would just use a good felt on the back. But as I said, I don't need them for mine. And now we're going to take the two tails and we can join these together. Now you can make these tails pointing down, or you can make the tails sticking out. I've decided to do mine sticking out straight because I'm adding the dangly bits coming out from the bottom. So we'll already have some hangy bits from the bottom. So I'm going to join these two together now. Again, using a piece of scrap felt hot glued to the middle as I did the loops. So making sure they're straight, and we've got them joined together in the middle. And now we can add on our ears. So the ears, you can have them coming out at an angle. I'll just get the bow so you can get an idea. So the bow will go on there like that. So you can have the ears coming out at an angle. You can have them up straight. You can have them wider apart, closer together. The choice is yours. Now I like mine fairly close together and slightly angled out. So I'm going to have mine about here. So taking my hot glue gun, I'm going to place some glue just at the bottom to begin with. And pop them on there. Slightly out at an angle, and then I'm just going to add some more glue to this part where it touches, and then I'm going to do the same with the other side. So I'm making sure by eye we've got the same distance here and that they are both going out diagonal at the same angle. And then I can finish off with the glue underneath once I'm happy. So I'm going to place the glue along the ears and the middle, and that will just make sure that holds that all in snugly. Lining up my bow evenly. I'm putting my hands inside of the loops just to push it down because I don't want to push down on my loops. If I push down on my loops, I'm going to end up with the flat bow. So I'm pushing in on the inside. So that is the main part of the bow now done. Isn't that gorgeous? You can't, like I say, you can't get the gist of how big this actually is when you look at it on a camera or a photo, but it is massive and it is so cute. This would be literally like a hat on my little girl. It's so big. And before we add the centre strip, we're going to make some little danglies for this bow. I'm so excited for this part. So I've got these 3 little bunny beads, which I just found in a jewellery make and craft kit. Like I said, I will try and find the bits that I use and link them in the description below. And then I've got these 3 little embellishments, which I handmade myself. And next, taking our ribbon, I was going to use this gold, but looking at it now, I think I'm going to go with this silver. I just think that goes with everything much better. So yeah, I'm going to go with this silver. Now this ribbon, as you can see, it is so crumpled and creased because for some reason it came in a bag and not on a reel. So taking my hair straighteners, I am going to run it along my ribbon like that. And as you can see, it takes those creases right out. I haven't got it on very hot, so I'm going to do that on my ribbon where it's crumpled. So as you can see, yeah, it's all lovely and straight now. That's a really good tip for you all. If you've got crumpled ribbon, simply go over it with your hair straighteners if you've got some. So taking a needle, and I've actually got some thread, which I'm going to knot at the end. I'm going to thread the needle through the ribbon to the knot. Just make sure it stays. Oh no, it don't, because it's got a gap in it, so I'll have to go through a couple of times. This ribbon is kind of meshy with holes in it, so the knot didn't hold. So I've just gone through there a couple of times to make sure the knot holds. And then I'm going to pop my needle through the hole in this bead and then pull the ribbon through the hole like that. That is an easy way to get ribbon or a bead on a ribbon. So we've got this little bead on there now, and then I'm just going to pull it through till I've got the length I want. So I'm going to leave around 15 centimetres of ribbon, and then I'm just going to tie a knot. So I'm just going to move that bead up and tie a knot to where that was. Just do a double knot to make sure it's not going to slip off. So I've tied a double knot on there so that this little bunny embellishment will hang there and not move. And then with the other end, I'm going to put it through the slit that I made in here. The slit is around 1/2 centimetre wide going across, and we're going to thread that through there now. I'm just making sure the ribbon is facing the correct way. You can twist it once it's in there. And then you can decide from here the distance that you want this to hang from your bead. So this is obviously going to be attached to the bow. So I'm going to have mine about sort of 5 or 6 centimetres from the bead. And then again on the underside, I'm going to tie it off. First of all, I'm just going to cut that thread off that end because we don't need that on there now. And again, I'm going to move this up a little bit and tie a double knot in that ribbon. and then just trim off, leaving about sort of just under 1 centimetre, because you won't see that on the underside. So this is what we've got now, and I've still got this attached to the whole reel of ribbon, because before I cut this I need to decide how long it's going to be hanging from my bow. So I'm just going to set those aside so I can bring the big bow back in and decide how long we're going to have this hanging. So I'm going to cut it off about there. So this is what we've got, and this length is, so from the top of the ribbon to the bottom of the egg embellishment is 14 inches or 35.5 centimetres. So that is how long the whole thing is from the bottom to the top. So that is one done. I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to repeat that with these, only on these I'm going to make them different lengths. So I want one to be a couple of inches shorter, one to be a couple of inches longer, so that they are staggered. I've got all my embellishments now on there with the beads, and to make these extra secure, what I'm going to do is pop a little bit of hot glue on those little ends of the ribbon and stick them down on the back, and that will just make sure that they will stay on there. And on these two I cut the strings actually slightly longer than this one. So this one I cut to around 14 inches, and these two I done around 17-18 inches. So that is from the bottom of the embellishment to the top of the string, and I will trim these down as I think I want them. So bringing the giant bow back, place these under the bow and just see how I want them, and then cut them down to length. So I'm going to just show you here because I'm not going to get it all on camera. I want these staggered, so I want one sort of up here, then this one will hang, say, like down here, and then this one maybe like up there. So this will be how they hang from my bow. So taking the centre strip, I'm going to attach these to the centre strip, and to do that again I'm going to cut a slit, so around a couple of centimetres up from the bottom. I'm going to fold it in half and cut a slit. You don't want to go all the way across because you don't want to cut off the end, so you just want a little slit in there like that. And then I'm going to thread the ends of these ribbons into the slit. So I'm going to thread them in there like that. And you want to make sure that your ribbon is the correct way, so it's laying flat, so that your embellishments, so taking this first one for example, so it's threaded through here and it's flat, so that my embellishment is facing the correct way. Now obviously you can't see this on camera, but I've got these staggered how I want them to sit, so they're going to sit like this. So I pulled them through here and judged how long I wanted them, and I've made sure that they go through the slit and that the ribbon is the correct way for the embellishment to face forwards. Then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to take my hot glue and place it just underneath those strands and stick them down, and then trim off the rest, and then stick the rest of the ends down also. So this is what they look like coming out from that centre strip. So placing the glue again over that slit, I'm going to place that where I want it first. Again, my hot glue gun is stringy because I haven't got it switched on. So I'm going to place the slit with the tassels with the ribbon coming out from the bottom. And push that into the glue. And then it's going to go over the top. So grabbing my hot glue gun again. Going over that top. And then we can stick it round on the underside. So just moving all of these out of the way. So trimming off any excess if you need to. I'm going to just trim off a little bit. And then finish wrapping these around. And now I almost forgot, luckily before it dried I peeled it back, so I've stuck the bottom down. Before I stick this top down, I'm going to make the loop to hang my decoration. So taking this ribbon again, I'm just going to measure it against my bow. I'm going to make the loop about as tall as the ears, so about to there. So I'm going to cut that ribbon off. I'm just going to fold it in half and then make a knot in that end, so tying those two ends together. And then I'm going to hook this around the center strip. We're going to bring this round and finish gluing this down on the underside, so the knot is kind of there. So taking the hot glue and finish gluing the other side down, and that will hold that piece down. So this is the underside of the bow, which you won't see. Now again, I'm not going to fit this all on camera because it is so big, but I will show you a picture at the end of this tutorial of it hanging on my wall. But that is your finished giant Easter hair bow decoration using the Pixie Dot Deluxe Dottie hair bow and the giant bunny ears template to go with it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and if you press the bell button, that will turn on notifications. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye bye.